Hello, everyone, and welcome in. This is Aaron St. Denis at FFMadScientist, joined today by Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel and Jeremy and Jesse Moeller. I like Jeremy so much I introduced him twice. Then there's that other guy at the bottom with the screaming child. He's here too. Welcome to the fantasy football universe.
I'll help you later.
I was watching that the whole time the intro was playing. I'm like, what's Jesse doing? That is Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05 in the bottom, dealing with his child who's at home. Mine too. He had a dentist appointment. He's in the other room. So if you hear someone randomly cursing at Fortnite, it's not me. I thought I just right now. All right. Today we are getting back into the 2024 rookie sneak peeks. Today we've got Clemson running back Will Shipley. We seem to be on a little run here of running backs. And this, I guess we finally got to the spot where all these running backs are going. So let's get into it. Will Shipley, actually, who wrote this one? Jeremy?
Yes,
all right. If you want to see his full write-up, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. He is a 5-star prospect from Weddington, North Carolina. He was so good in high school that he committed to Clemson in his junior season. Without playing his senior season due to COVID, Shipley ended his career at Weddington High School with over 5,500 combined yards and 80 touchdowns. Good Lord.
Yeah.
While starting just 5 games as a freshman at Clemson, he showed promise. He broke out as a sophomore with 1,182 yards rushing and 15 rushing touchdowns, adding in 248 and 38 through the air, 38 catches through the air, that is. Unfortunately for Shipley, running mate Phil Maffa, I don't know that one. That's a new name to me. That's a new name to me.
Yeah.
No, I was an honest question. That's a new name.
This is running mate. No, it's Clemson running back.
Okay. Came on last season, splitting rushing duties with him, dominating goal line work, and earning a share of the receiving duties as well. Just goes to show you, I'm not really all that. I'm familiar with a lot of the Big Ten guys, but he has not come up in my research until next, or when he's eligible. This Phil Moffitt guy. Yeah. Shipley ended his collegiate career, his final season, with 1,071 total yards and only 7 touchdowns. So, Jeremy, what really jumped out off the page to you first?
Yeah, first he was a 5-star prospect, right? He was a guy who a lot was expected, and he was starting to live up to that hype immediately. Broke out when he was given the chance, and then kind of just fell off a cliff this last season. Really, that concern for me is the fact that Phil Maffa, who you mentioned you haven't heard of, kind of split the duties and was the better in between the tackles runner. And that's really where Shipley's going to get knocked. We want him to be Christian McCaffrey light. He might be like extra dry if he's lucky, but it's unlikely. The passing chops are there in he's 75% maybe McCaffrey in the passing game, but he's 20% McCaffrey in between the tackles.
What stood out to you, Jesse?
The main connection is they're white running backs who can catch, and that's about it. So yeah. If you we wouldn't have, if he was a different color skin, we would not be having these comparisons with Will Shipley. He's nowhere near Mr. Christian McCaffrey. But like you're saying, he's a super high touted prospect, and we had high hopes for him. And the last 2 years, Maffa, who we were talking about, has carved out a significant role in that offense. So when you're this prospect and you're not living up, kind of similar to Travion Henderson, but he has the more injury excuse. There's questions about him, but if you know of Debbie circles, he's been a massive name for the past few years. So it's just, he hasn't lived up to the hype. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets the draft capital or not. And honestly, I have no idea if he's going to get it. He feels like a complete mystery box to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the next part, is measurables, the limited ones, obviously. 5'11", 210. So we have another bowling ball shaped individual here. 21 and a half years old and is a junior. Played 3 years there at Clemson. We see ended up with 2,748 rushing yards and 31 touchdowns. Let's get into his scouting report here. His strengths: fluid receiver who works well in space, fast with a quick gear to help him accelerate and get outside the tackle box. He is shifty in the open field, has quick feet in and out of his cuts with decent vision, and stretches the field well horizontally in the screen game. What was his biggest strength when you looked at him, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's the receiving game. I mean, that's really what's going to be his hallmark in the NFL if he can stick. The third down role, you hope is his. The problem with him is he's small, and pass blocking can be a concern. So much so that he wasn't even, Maffa was the pass pro guy at Clemson and not Shipley. So he's going to have to probably go somewhere where they can creatively use him. But the receiving game, he's someone who's capable of racking up a good amount of targets.
How about you, Jesse? What'd you notice?
Yeah, that's like, it's obviously the receiving chops because he was fed a good amount of volume throughout his college career. It's the level that you're looking for any like receiving player jumping to the next level. But like Jeremy said, if he isn't able to pass block and stay on third downs, like it really doesn't matter because you're not going to be on the field enough. But if I'm going to pick one thing, yeah, it's his receiving ability. He's a solid receiving back entering the league. And I think third down back is his most likely path to success in the NFL.
Some of the weaknesses: not a powerful runner, often goes down on first contact. I feel like there's a joke there. Unlikely to be useful in pass protection. Ball security needs work. Also think there's a joke there. And he's not an elite athlete. Aside from my humor, what is the biggest weakness for you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a third down back and you're going to the NFL, you would hope to be kind of an elite athlete. And I just didn't see those athletic traits really paying off for him. It's no wonder that it's assumed that he's a day 3 guy. It's no wonder that Maffa, who looked more athletic on tape and could handle the inside runs, was splitting work with him. So you'd want him to be more athletic than he was. He wasn't like breaking ankles every single play. Really, he's kind of a receiver with speed out of the backfield, and that's about it.
How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, it's really his lack of contact balance. It kind of stands out. You think someone who, as talented as Shipley is, he would be able to kind of have a better contact balance where he has control of his body, and it would improve him from a rushing perspective. But it just kind of it's really not there all the time. So it comes and goes. So that one really stood out to me when I was watching tape on him. Like, I was surprised going in. I didn't know what to expect when I watched that. And I was like, okay, I can kind of see the issues that he has as a rusher at the next level.
All righty. To the next part, you have him going late 4th, early 5th. So an early day 3 pick. Kansas City as the best fit for you. Why Kansas City? Do you think he can sneak his way into day 2, or is he solidly in day 3?
Day 2 is what, round 3?
Yeah.
2, 3.
Yeah. So no, I think he's solidly in day 3 with the amount of higher upside prospects available. And a guy we're going to talk about next in Braylon Allen. I'd be surprised if Shipley goes above, the top 8, and even the top 10 RBs taken. He needs to fit a role, and that's why I think Kansas City makes sense. Jerick McKinnon already had that role, albeit sporadic. It was more game plan specific, and I think McKinnon again was on a 1-year deal. He's gone. We know Isaiah Pacheco in Kansas City is kind of the guy. So if Shipley can potentially go somewhere like Kansas City, carve out an early impact role as a third down guy, and then grow from there, possibly in an excellent offense, that'd be an ideal fit for him. From a fantasy perspective, I don't really think Shipley is going to be very valuable. So again, another place where there's an established veteran and a place where he can kind of develop and grow into a role over his 2nd and 3rd year is ideal as well.
Where do you have him going, Jesse?
I don't mind that at all. Realistically, because he's a better pass catcher than Pacheco. Like, it's just like Pacheco's not that good of a pass catcher. So that's an ideal situation where you get a grinder where he's going alongside and he's playing the receiving role in that offense. I like that. Overall, like, as a running back, there is a lot to like, but he's just a tier below in a lot of stuff. So he's good at a lot of things, but not excellent in a lot of it. So that makes an issue for him. But yeah, if you can get him in a receiving role in a good offense, like, I'd totally be fine with that. Obviously, a lot of the good quarterbacks have those receiving backs, but that's why Kansas City stands out. And I'd be happy if he went to Kansas City, honestly. I think there'd be some actual fantasy relevance for him there.
Yeah, I don't mind Kansas City. I was trying to think of where a good fit for me is. Kansas City seems like a good one. It all depends too. Like, if Dallas moves on from Tony Pollard and doesn't sign someone, if Cincy moves on from Joe Mixon and just has Chase Brown, I think he could be a good fit there. I'm trying to think of who else needs a good pass catching running back. I think he has the potential to sneak into to round 3, but I don't know if he will, but I don't mind him. I think I like him more than you guys. Having said that, this group here of 6 running backs, the first group, their first tier, they're all the same to me. It's going to come down to, if you told me Shipley went in the 5th round and went to Chicago, he's going to be the 6th or 7th for me. If you told me he went in the 3rd round and went to KC, he might be my RB1 in this class. I think the whole thing's going to come down to that might not be true because I like Benson and I like Brooks pretty solidly, but he could probably be the RB3, 2 or 3 for me in this class. It's just a case of none of them really differentiate themselves from the rest of them. And I think in the end, it comes down to draft capital and landing spot for the running backs this year, which is why we see them fall so much in all the rookie drafts because nobody really knows what to do with any of them.
Yeah, that's a giant tier, guys, right? Like, I think if he ends up in somewhere like Washington or like with Kansas City we're talking about, or maybe like Green Bay, they move on from Aaron Jones, he possibly could step into that role. Like, there's places he could go with good quarterbacks. It's just I don't know if he's going to end up in this situation. If he does, he's very landing spot dependent, but I think he does have some fantasy upside. It's just, we'll see how it shakes out for him.
I think all these running backs are landing spot dependent this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and another interesting spot as well could be Houston. We know they're searching for someone. I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking for someone a tier or 7 above Will Shipley. But in case he's available a little bit later when they draft, picking him up might be a good replacement for Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
All right, that concludes the rookie sneak peek of Clemson running back Will Shipley. If you want to see Jeremy's full write-up, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com or check back tomorrow for the next player in our series. As always, the entire, pretty much top 100 prospects or so, they all have write-ups over on fantasyfootballuniverse.com, and they all get videos for the most part, except for the IDP guys. So check us out whenever you get a chance. For Aaron, Jeremy, and Jesse, thank you for tuning in to the Fantasy Football Universe. We will see you tomorrow.